Hello guys on YouTube, how are you guys today? Well, I want to talk to you guys today about my professional Canon camera. Uses these CF memory cards for storage for photos, and how to actually use the camera itself to actual format the cards without using your Mac, your PC, or your desktop computer. You can just use the format function on the camera itself. But I do gotta be careful because one of these memory cards actually have the AirShow photos. I do not want to accidentally format that card itself. I have 3 different memory cards. I have a Kingston 1 gig, I have a SanDisk 4 gig, I also have a Kingston 4 gig. I think this is the one that has my photos on, but I'm not 100% sure. I gotta take a look at all of them and make sure the actual one has the error message on it, because I changed the format on my computer and making sure this actual works completely just fine, and we get an error message sometimes on the camera itself. But by formatting these memory cards, you can just use the camera itself without using the computer. Now let's go ahead and actually take a look at these memory cards themselves. You guys can see, I'm not kidding you, I have all these memory cards for this camera. This camera does not use standard SD cards at all. Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy around here, and let's go ahead and take a look at the memory cards themselves and see which card we do not want to accidentally format. Let's try this one and see if we got anything on this one. Typically we will have an image. No image on this one. This one is completely blank. That is totally fine. But we're going to go ahead and actually reformat this card for this camera itself. Let's go ahead and go into settings and go ahead down to number 1, and we go to format this card. And what this does, it actually erases the memory card itself. It makes it completely blank, and now we have about this much photos on this 1 gigabyte card. Very nice. Now I turn the camera off, and this card has now been reformatted to the right format of the camera itself. We set that one off to the side. Now I think this one might have my photos on it. We don't want to reformat this one because I know this actually has my photos on it. Let's take a look at the images. This is what I mean. I do not want to reformat this one because this actually has the AirShow pictures on it. We're going to go ahead and take this one off, or out of the memory card, turn the camera off. We're going to go ahead and put this card way off to the side, because we don't want to touch that one anymore, because that actually does have the AirShow photos on it. But now let's try this one. But if you typically format these off your computer, you'll typically get an error message and CF on the camera itself. But we are not getting any type of error message because I actually reformat these cards on these camera itself. Pretty easy, isn't it? Very easy for me because I don't have to turn my computer on and actual format the card itself. Now, you do get a little bit of space left over on the card itself. You know, this is actual 4 gig. We got 99 photos we can take with this bigger capacity card, and I am not joking. I can probably just take a picture of some sort and show you guys. We actually do have a picture on this card. Now, apparently we are blank. I don't know why, but we do have pictures on these cards, and this camera does work like it's supposed to. But you know what I got to do? I got to take the cap off. That's why I wasn't taking the pictures. Like, wait a minute. See if we got a good shot. Now, this is not a very good shot, guys, but you guys can tell it's a really crap shot, but that's up and close to the phone. But we're going to reformat this card again. Now, how often do you format these cards? Well, you can reformat these cards many times when you buy them brand new, or if they're actually used and, you know, stuff, you know. It's like, without having to using your computer, guys, without having to using your Mac or your desktop computer. because not every camera is the same, and not every computer is the same. It's not going to read these big giant fat codes. You guys can see they're not standard size, the big giant ones. But they're pretty good. They're really all good for your digital photography here and your digital camera. But yes, you can, if you want to format your codes on your computer, just make sure you actually leave the format the way it is, and make sure you don't actually change the format itself to a known format on your computer, because the cameras will not recognize the codes at all without actually having to reformatting these. Now, these codes here originally had photos on these codes. I actually go ahead and saved them on my computer and reformatted the codes on my computer and stuff, and I changed the file format and I plugged them into the camera. And what happens when you do that is you get a error message of the CF code itself, because the code is not recognized by the camera itself. Now, when you are doing that, you do got to take care with these codes, because these are almost like a very old style memory code. You guys can see these actually have pins inside of these codes. You just gotta make sure you do be very gently and not very forcefully forcing them in your camera. You want to make sure you do take care of that. Now, this camera is by the way, a used camera. Now, we actually do have the memory capacity of this code inside of here. Now, the format is down here, okay, in this little lit area here. You guys can see it will still have somewhat of a format on this code. Now, I can reformat this code 1,000 times with the camera, and it doesn't actually change the way the code works, but it actually erases the data off of the memory code itself. By using this method, it's a lot easier than getting on your computer and trying to actually change the file system and change the format of these codes themselves. Very easily done on the camera itself. And yes, a computer can read these. If you actually have a computer, it uses the CFL or CFL codes reader, but not all computers actually have the CF code reader at all. My laptop does not. My laptop only has a SD card reader, and this makes it very hard for me to do anything with these codes by reading them on my computer or looking at what's on these memory cards themselves. Now, these little buggers here, these little codes can be quite very expensive. But yes, I actually did take a look at different CF codes for this camera. I don't know what the highest rating capacity of this camera can actually go up to. That's why I have a 4 gig and I own 4 gig, and I just have a 1 gig code. Now, these codes are very expensive. Very expensive. But you do want to take care of these codes. You got to make sure you look after them and make sure they are in a good format. Now, these are very old style school codes. So most newer cameras are not going to come with these style codes. Most cameras are going to come with those small micro SD codes, the regular SD codes, and everything else. But this camera here does not. This camera only uses these codes themselves. Now, how expensive these can be? These can be like in the 100 range, 60 range, to almost $80 or $50 a piece for one of these codes. Now, the biggest capacity I have seen was a $200 range. It was 128 gigabyte, 10 times bigger than these little codes here, these little memory codes. But typically, when these codes are being reformatted off your computer, you gotta make sure you set it at FAT or FAT32. that's what the file system recommends on most cameras these days. Most of the file format will be recognized on these cameras themselves. But these cards are very robust and very heavy duty and very good made. They're not gonna like break on you guys. They're not like those chintzy, very thin plastic cards. But I really like these things. They're very nice. But I wish my computer actually had a CF card reader. But it does not. It does has just a standard SD card reader. And you guys can see it says in this little triangle CF card. That's what these cards are. Very simple to format any of these cards you buy brand new for your digital camera itself. Very easy. All you do is just plug in your camera and go to your settings, and voila, you actually formatted the card itself. Now, formatting is not as tricky as you think it really is, though, guys. It's a very simple. It's a very simple. Now, most people can get scared of formatting the memory cards and losing the data what's on it. Now, do back up your pictures on your computer and you're good to go, and reformat the card completely itself on the camera itself without using a Mac or a PC computer. And there you go, guys. We are now done formatting this card, and now I have about a couple more shots of pictures on this camera as well. Alright, guys, if you are brand new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. Please leave a comment down below. Please like. Please share. Peace out. Bye, guys. We'll hopefully see you in the next vlog of something maybe completely different.